Number 8b says using a scale of 2 centimeters to 1 unit on the x-axis and 2 centimeters to 2 units on the y-axis, draw the graph of y equals 2x squared minus x minus 4 minus 3 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 3. The next question has asked us to draw a graph, and in the first part we were able to get our values for y, and we've also been given the scale to work with, so we're not creating our own scale. The scale says on the x-axis you have 2 centimeters to 1 unit, on the y-axis you have 2 centimeters to 2 units. So let's start with our graph. This is our graph sheet, and on our graph sheet we have to draw the vertical axis, which is the y-axis. This is the y positive, this is the y negative. We'll draw the horizontal line, which is the x-axis. We have the x-axis positive, we have the x-axis negative. We've been given our scale. For those who don't really understand the graph, let me zoom in. If you have your graph sheet, for you to understand your scale, like saying 2 centimeters represents 1 unit. So what's actually 2 centimeters? Let's understand by starting with 1 centimeter. We have your graph book. You can take your ruler and measure from this point to this point. You discover the distance from here to here is 1 centimeter, and from here to here is 2 centimeters. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth line that forms the small box in most graph book is slightly thicker than the usual internal 4 lines, but not as thick as the one of the 10th line. So we have the 10th line here, and the distance from here to here is actually 2 centimeters. And if not a perfect graph book, you have it close to 2 centimeters. So when they say 2 centimeters represents 1 unit or 2 centimeters represents 2 units, that means from here to here, the distance from here to here, which is 2 centimeters, if it were to be 1 unit, that means you indicate it in 1, like demanded on our x-axis. Then another 2 centimeters, you make it 2, and you keep going like that. As indicated in the question, we're told that on our y-axis, we should make 2 centimeters. Our scale on our y-axis is 2 centimeters to 2 units, and on our x-axis, 2 centimeters to 1 unit. We've actually made our labelings. So we have, this is your y-axis, and distance from here to here is 2 centimeters, which is 2 centimeters represents 2 units. So you keep going. For every 2 centimeters, you keep doing 2 units. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then on our x-axis, it said 2 centimeters represents 1 unit. So the distance from here to here is 2 centimeters, as discussed earlier. And note, on the x-axis, this is the positive side, this is the negative side. On the y-axis, the positive side is up and the negative side is down. With that being done, we'll move to the next stage of plotting our graph. Using our table, the table we calculated, we'll start plotting the points. We start with the first one, which says when x is minus 3, y is 17. You know, x negative is on this side, this is minus 3, and our y is 17 is up. On the y-axis is a positive part of y. Zooming in, at the point of when x is minus 3, y is 17, we'll go when x is minus 3 and y is 17, that means we are going up. Since y is positive, we go up. And looking at this, if this is 16 and this is 18, in between 16 and 18 we have 17. 17 will actually be right in the middle, so this is 17. From there we get our point, first point, that's when x is minus 3, y is 17. We do that, then we'll mark out the point. We'll mark our first point, this is, and second coordinates are when x is minus 2, y is plus 6. So we'll go, this is x, when x is minus 2, y is plus 6. This is positive y. So we'll take it minus 2 and plus 6. So our second point will be here. The next line says when x is minus 1, y is minus 1. This is 0, this is negative 1 on the y-axis, so it's somewhere here. Next point is actually here. The next point is when x is 0, y is minus 4. So when x is 0, this is 0 on x-axis, y is minus 4, so it's exactly at this point. The next point says when x is 1, y is minus 3. When x is 1, y is minus 3. It is down here, it's in between minus 2 and minus 4, you have minus 3. So it's on this point, you have your minus 3. The next point says when x is 2, y is 2. We take x at 2, y is plus 2, so we'll go up here and our point is here. And the last point says when x is 3 plus 3, y is 11. So you go up, you cross 10, this is 10, and this is 11. 11 is in between 10 and 12. So this is where we'll make our mark. So here are our points. When x is minus 3, y is 17. This is minus 3 on the x, and we'll go 17 on the y positive axis. This is it. Second point is when x is minus 2, y is 6. When x is minus 2, still on positive y, we have it as 6. So we'll make the mark there. When x is minus 1, y is minus 1. So we'll come down here and make our point. When x is minus 1, y is also minus 1. Between 0 and minus 2, you have minus 1. So x here is minus 1, y is also minus 1. You make our mark here. Next point talks about when x is 0, y is minus 4. So we have our 0 point here on the x-axis and our minus 4 here on the y-axis. We come down the y. Next point says when x is 1, y is minus 3. We go down when x is 1. This is 0, this is 1. 1 on the positive x. Y is negative, so we'll come down. So it's minus 3. In between minus 2 and minus 4, you have minus 3. We make our mark. When x is 2, y is 2. So when x is 2 on this, we'll go up the positive. That's y is 2. Then the last point says when x is 3, y is 11. We go up, we come to x is 3. We go up and search for 11. 11 is in between 10 and 12. So we have our 11 here. And on x is 3, we go up to 11, which is right in the middle. We'll make our mark. Once we are done with plotting all our points, we now join the points. If you look at this, this is actually a curve. The graph is coming this way and right down here and takes a curve back up. When you're joining your lines, some would use some elastic materials to do it. Some are very good with their French curves. But one thing I would advise is to take 3 points and join them together first, and you go around. And the best place to start is where you have the curve, where you think you have the curve. So you put your French curve here, your curving material, or your broom, or your elastic ruler, and get these 3 points first. So we'll go and put it and make this point first. Then we can now, from here, we join these 3 points, and we can now join these other 3 points and get our graph done. As discussed earlier, take our first 3 points. At the turning point, we'll make our curve. We'll stop here, then we'll take the other points. Next we're taking is these 3. We're joining these 3. And lastly, we go for this part. We've now finally completed our curved graph, which is shown here. The next is that we indicate the name of the graph with the equation itself on the side.